Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lungleng Show. Today we have one special episode with Mr. Alezo Vena, and he is the co-convener for the NNPG and Working Committee NNPG. We have seen the new developments in the recent past, as well as to add more things about him. He is also the Kilonser for NSCN, GPRN.
GPRN and NSCN.
GPRN NSCN. Unification. So in other words, he's the Prime Minister for that GPRN NSCN government. It's wonderful to have a personality like him for a conversation, because we hardly get to see their views and what they're really thinking when it comes to Naga political problems. And I think we all have been following the Naga political problems from a very close distance, and getting to hear directly from the stakeholder is a very, very precious thing for all of us as Naga people as well. I'm sure non-Naga people will also get to learn many things about what is really going on with the Naga problem. And as we know, the current political context of Naga political problem, that there are groups which are negotiating with the government of India in different contexts and at different levels. So I think this is going to be very interesting to get to hear from him, listen to him directly as one of the negotiators. So joining me is Mr. Alezo Vena at Kilonser, GPRN NSCN. Thank you so much for giving us this time to have this conversation with you, sir.
Yeah, you are most welcome.
I think it's wonderful to see your camp here, and it's a beautiful place, location, and first time, and it's so big. I'm sure you're enjoying good atmosphere around this time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is the season where we are enjoying with life.
I can see that. So just to begin with, this Naga political negotiation has been going on for quite a long time. But in other words, in your side, there has been a general understanding that the talk has been now concluded on 31st October 2019. And just to throw you directly this question, what does it mean that the talk has been concluded on 31st October 2019? What does it actually mean?
Well, I think we all know the ceasefire started since 1997 with NSCN-IM, led by, later Isaac and Mr. Muiva. And, it started with, ceasefire, and negotiation has started with, but things could not come to kind of a conclusion. So with that, of course, they have signed 3rd August 2015, that framework agreement. But after, 3-4 years, things could not emerge as we Nagas were expecting. So, later part of the 2016, Nagas have been divided into so many, groups, or we call it factions. So we, each one of us, Nagas, we talk about unifications, but when it comes into action, we started defending and justifying our position and the kind of that. So, but I think by the grace of God, in 2016, last part of December, we came together through the initiative of NTC, that's Nagaland Tribes Council, some of the leaders that have initiated that. So, all of us, we came together and we could form that. So with that, the beginning of 2017, with the initiative of the Nagaland GP Federation and other civil organization, we started, reaching out to the civil societies, the tribal hohos, the intellectuals, and all of that. So that was one of the, starting point where we started this. And later on, I think it was in the month of May, the NTC, they went to Delhi and met Prime Minister, and the assurance was given to the NTC, and the same message was conveyed to us. And later part on 3rd August, that is in 2017. Okay. The Honorable Prime Minister has invited the GB Federation, so they met and they discuss over the ground situation back home. So with that, we were invited, so we started the negotiation with that. So I was part of that as a coordinator. Mm-hmm. So, I still remember, it took us, a lot of hardships to organize that kind of thing. So at first, we invited former interlocutor RN Ravi to Nagaland to kickstart the negotiations. So that was in the month of October. So, our presentation, very simple that, before we start the negotiation, we make it very clear that, there should be a concrete kind of a foundation to start a negotiation. So our simple submission was that, 1951 plebiscite to start with the negotiation, but to which government of India and the interlocutor had made it very clear that India is not a party to that 51 plebiscite. That was the side of the story of the government of India. So I think we also should appreciate that. So with that, we all went up to Delhi and we started negotiation. So before we start the negotiation, we nearly had a deadlock. So, but later on, by the grace of God, on 17 November, this agreed position, it came into being. And I think in that agreed position, it is clearly mentioned that government of India has recognized, our uniqueness, and so that was the beginning of the negotiation. We came back, and with that agreed position, last part of November and December, we started, consultative meeting with all the tribal hosts, the civil societies, the intellectuals, and of course, we even take into confidence of the legislators because they are also part of, our Naga society. So with that, we started. And I think I still remember that, our negotiation, our approach, the roadmap which we started with was that everything has to be in written. The conversation, the talking, through mouth, I think tomorrow you and I can interpret in my own convenient way. So that was one lesson which we learned, and we applied that, and we work out every aspect of the points for the solution. And of course, one also has to keep in mind that our leader, Mr. T.H. Moiva, the Kilonser, has made it very clear that back in 2012, 29 February, the then that's Dimapur Agri-Expo, now Chumagdima, he has made it very clear that, sovereignty and integration is not possible at this point of time. So I think that was one thing which we also has realized, So we put, everything in written and, point by point, we started a negotiation. Of course, former interlocutor Irene Ravi also did not accept that for more than 4 months. I think it took us more than 4 months to convince him that the negotiation has to be in black and white. So that was the beginning of the, things, and we could come to a conclusion with that. So what I'm trying to justify that 31st October 2019, where we have concluded the negotiation. So that was the reason behind all that, and of course the government of India also has informed us that 31st October will be the kind of a deadline. So for us, but working committee, we have completed everything before that. So that was how we started the negotiation.
So now the talk got completed on 31st October. So you willingly accepted that it was completed and you were satisfied with whatever has been negotiated?
Well, on our part, working committee and NPG, we have placed everything, so that was agreed upon. And I think it is on record that, the former interlocutor also was sent as a governor to Nagaland. So I think in one of the assembly, he has presented in his speech in the assembly, where I think in any state, a governor's speech is being scrutinized by the cabinet. So it is on record. So talk has been concluded on that line.
So that means I want to understand this better. From your side, you have nothing more to talk now. You are satisfied. You just want to just personally ask you to sign it and to ink the agreement, and you want to move forward from here.
Well, exactly it is, because, what we have agreed in principle, that is in black and white. And it is already with government of India. So I think government of India has to come out with the, a draft, they call it, because the content of the negotiation point is in a bulky, it is, more than 17, 18 or 20 pages. But, the conclusion of that, for agreement, it has to. So, On our part, it is very clear with that.
So as I read your agreed position, you have made it public.
Yeah.
I mean, which is good on your part, to make public aware of what has been going on, what has been negotiated on their behalf. I think as I read about it, it talks a lot of things, provisions that can come upon, and ending of hostilities between the Nagas and Indians. I think those are good points. Definitely people are tired of hostilities, and no one wants to live in that kind of environment anymore. However, as I read it, and it sounds more like solution to come. Let's say people even call it another little improvement for the Article 371A. What is your position on it? What is your thought on that?
Well, I think this is politics, One can claim moon and star. But unless you achieve it, it's just kind of a fairy tale story. So I think we have to be very practical with that. It has to do with the legislative power, Everything has to go through parliament. Are we going to achieve through like that, A prime minister or a home minister or any cabinet minister can assure you anything, but unless this is a political matter, unless it goes through the parliament, I think nothing is going to, happen just kind of, like that. So, on our part, I think let us also be practical with that, To create a new article, I think that is going to be next to impossible, as we all know. It has to go through the parliament, and unless it is done like that, just given an assurance that's not going to happen. So looking at all that, working committee with the consultation with some, the legal expertise and political luminaries, we have done, accordingly. So at this point of time, whether you like it or not, 100%, sovereignty is not achievable at this point of time. So why not we create something, foundation for our younger generation for the future, and with that, I think there should be enough space for that.
I think your approach is very clear. I mean, you people are tired of all this hostilities and all this conflict. You are thinking for the next generation, the youth and the upcoming younger generation. However, does that include like the idea of the Naga peoplehood? Because there is a general understanding from Nagas outside of Nagaland as well that this agreed position mainly focuses on the present Nagaland state. So as a Naga national political workers, what is your thought on that?
Well, I think I just want to make it clear with that, their wrong kind of, conception on that, the agreed position has also that status paper has made it very clear that, for Nagas, especially in the southern part, the understanding, which we have agreed in principle was that the 4 district of Nagas in southern part could become, a territorial council kind of that, and Nagas of Arunachal. But for Nagas of Myanmar side too, that is, at this point of time, that is not going to happen. So especially in the Union of India, I think the status paper and the under agreed position, if solution could have been arrived, then I think things would have been different. Then I think that's what we are very clear on that.
So your thought, like a territorial council for Arunachal, Assam, Nagas, or all this outside of Nagaland, Naga areas.
Right.
So does that include the integration part? I mean, from your negotiation?
Well, I think that's kind of a beginning of integration. Once a legislative power is given to that territorial council, then I think they can decide.
Okay. And did you envision of having a territorial council in outside of Nagaland, the southern part, Assam side? And did you, during the process of negotiation, did you envision of having a common center for power, let's say, at the Nagaland, at the central Nagaland right now, so that all this territorial council will have that attachment towards the frontier Nagaland, this area? Am I reading it right, or did you envision that connection rather than just having a separate territorial council under different states?
Well, personally, we all look forward, and I personally feel that, that's the beginning of things which will definitely happen in the near future. But unless it is achieved, I cannot just give a false promise and all. But in the case of, Nagas in Assam, it's not, contiguous area. we have pocket in 2-3 places. So, and the problem with us is that, when statehood was given to Nagaland, between Assam and Nagaland, there was no clear demarcation was made. So, still problem is out there. So, I think in our negotiation and negotiated this status paper, we have made it very clear that once agreement solution is arrived, the union government, that's government of India, should set up a impartial, a neutral commission to see that. So I think that was the idea, which so that Nagaland also will have no kind of upper hand, or as well as the Assam side. So that was the understanding which we had with the government of India.
And now that paper, status paper, and agreed position was signed with R.N. Ravi.
Right.
Now that he's no more the interlocutor, I want to know what is the current legitimacy of that agreed position at this moment.
Well, I think R.N. Ravi was endorsed by government of India. It's that agreement, that understanding is not based on an individual. He represents government of India. So I think, as a gentleman agreement, I think government of India also should uphold that understanding.
While the other group, the NSCN, has been negotiating and has been taking their strong stand on the flag and the constitution, how do you view as someone who is not in that group and who is holding a parallel conversation?
Well, you see, this is a personal understanding. You can view in different ways, from different angles, from different sides. But I think all of us, we are very clear with flag and constitution. And I personally feel that flag, this is so dear to all of us, and this is the only one where Nagas can come together. So I think one should not compromise with this flag. As long as this movement, this struggle continues, I think we should keep this as a secret kind of, a bond where Nagas can come together. So that is one part. And I think flag and constitution, unless we attain a sovereign, I think at this point of time, constitution is different part of things where, once you and I attend a sovereign nation state, that all comes automatically, no need to ask for that. So that is what my understanding. And of course, in our negotiated point, we also have made it very clear, especially for Nagas, we have a strong customary procedures, And in our case, I think state of Nagaland, it is already there. So I think we can, once solution arrives, then I think we can also make it from there. So, so those are some of the things at this point of time. And, as just want to repeat again that flag is one of the things which Nagas can come together with this through this. There is no issue with that. You interpret your flag in this size, that size, So I think flag we should keep that, secret.
I think you also have special place for the flag in your heart as well, as far as I understand from what you said. But how have you negotiated for the flag in this current negotiation from the working committee side?
Well, I think when we peak of our negotiation, we also presented that. But on the part of government of India side, they say that a nation cannot have two flags. That part is, I think we all have understood that. So, but for Nagas, no one can stop us using our flag. So why not we do that?
But don't you think like using the flag as a symbol of a nation or maybe semi-nation, or using it just for the sake of using, how do you like to use the flag that you hold sacred, that you hold dear?
Well, I think each individual, we have our own identity of uniqueness, that kind of a thing. So I think I also would like to use this flag in that way, so that I recognize myself as a Naga.
Okay. Now, I would like to, as a common citizen, I'm sure, like myself and many people, would like to see Naga political problem being negotiated from one common platform. What is stopping the Naga national workers to come together and having that negotiation? From your understanding, what is stopping?
Well, I think that's a question where, each one of us has to really think seriously personal capacity, I think I also been part of that, I cannot just point my finger at the other. But I personally feel that all of us has to come together. This is not a hereditary kind of things, Today I'm part of this, but tomorrow, the younger generation will come. So I think my other leaders, I think all of us has to, forget about our ego and pride, I think that is not going to take us for a long time, It is just a specific time of, a period. So my simple, thinking on that is that, why not we come together? That's for a very simple reason. And I think whether it is big or small, the better is that all of us should come together as you have. That is, I think, very clear with that. So I wish and, I'm praying that let us come together. There are so many platforms now. Of course, the FNR is one of the torch bearer where they have initiated this to come together, and we are still part of that. And of course, recently, NGBF, Naga NGB Federation also has started. I think we must welcome all of them. And on my part, I think the church has failed. I think the church should have been the front runners to lead, but the reason best known to them. So all that's that.
Has the other group ever reached out to a group like yours? And has your group ever reached out to other group for that kind of having a common understanding on the issue and, a common way forward in order to resolve this Naga political issue? Because we don't know, the public don't know whether there has been connection or there has been negotiation between the stakeholders, like having different demands and having different negotiations at different point of time. Has there ever been effort from each side, from either side, from your experience so far?
Well, I think, through the platform of FNR, we met, we discussed, personal capacity also, and we put across our views and thoughts on that. We cannot continue like this for long, because the longer we delay, I think it is the Nagas we are the one who is, losing, for government of India and Indian, they don't bother for even 100 or 1,000 years, So that was my big concern. So, government to government level, we are yet to do that. I think in recent past, I still remember when, 2010, 11 like that, we tried in some, not the top leadership, but the second rank we tried, but that could not materialize, the reason, all of us knows that. So that's, I wish and, we are looking forward that I think we should start doing that.
I think that'll be a wonderful step.
Exactly.
That'll be a wonderful step. Now, when in the recent past, we learn about the commotion, the conflict between your, we don't know whether he's the former convener or now he's still the convener, but he still claims to be a convener, Mr. Gitovi Zimomi.
Right.
And this NNPG working committee, is it been bifurcated or it's still one as of now? Because there has been two conveners coming and claiming to be the conveners at this moment. What is going on at this moment?
Well, I just want to, put on record last year, that is the 21st April 2024. The problem came out here in our camp.
It was here?
Yeah. No, he was not here. Of course,
okay.
He was with us as at Kilonser.
Right.
So, things could not be, in a, unfortunate incidents has happened. And, the GPRN and NSCN unification, we said, then there were some certain, things which, the government could not tolerate, continue to that. So we tried to sort it out but that could not come into terms. So that unfortunate impeachment has happened. So, it's not an individual, kind of a property to continue with that. For me, I'm also being endorsed by the GPRN and NSCN. There is a certain rules to follow with that. So that happened. So when, he was endorsed by our chairman, president to working committee, So the government, he represents the government. It's not an individual thing. So he was recalled from working committee and NPG also. But it took a little, longer period because our other working committee, other group also, they also felt that, we should, try to sort it out, in a better way. But that could not materialize. It took us more than 9 months to do that. And there are enough documents, records.
Okay.
Resolution is there. And the other 3 members who are with him now, Mr. Kimukam, Tushi, and Shitoho, they are also all part of that resolution. They have signed all that resolution, So since April 21, 2024, he has been removed from Kilonser and General Secretary of GPRN and NSCN Unification. So with that, he has also been recalled from working committee as a co-convener. And only after that, he became as a convener. So, that's the procedure that we have to follow, the certain rules, So there's no personal kind of things, I was with him. He was my leader at that point of time. So we all tried our level best to make things happen, but that could not happen. So now things are very clear. Government of India also has invited, the working committee to our chairman, the President General Retired MB Nekpao. So with that, we started all these things. So, here, I think there's no point of claiming, the original or kind of that, So I think that was, something which has gone out of hand. So I wish and still praying that things will, and I think there is no personal kind of, differences with that. Tomorrow, if, by God's grace, things could work out, then I think we all have to see the cross, across the table and work it out for the interest of the Nagas, And I think that's, this is not a kind of a personal property where you can continue to claim. So one has to understand that, I think. So, with, that the working committee and NPG is very clear under the leadership of, General Retired MB Nekpao, and I follow with other members. So, we are very clear with that.
Okay. Thanks for shedding light on that. Whichever group it is, when things go wrong, when things are not at the right place, we, the big common people, feel worried all the time.
Exactly.
So, he was, of course, on the other day, he was claiming that it was not impeachment; it was a military coup. So without taking further into that, I wish, as a common citizen, I wish and pray that things got resolved and represent the voice of the Nagas as one common platform. Nothing like it. So from here on, I want to understand better. This area, your group is the Naga Unification Army, and is there any? I feel like there is another group having the same name, same camp somewhere, or is this just the one common? After, we saw 2 names while coming here.
Right.
Are they under the same umbrella, or do they have a different group as such?
Oh, you mean Naga Army?
Yeah, Naga Army.
No, that falls under GPRN and NSCN Unification.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a military, part of the government.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I just want to make it one more
please.
point on the, the military coup.
Right.
If it is military coup, then I think by now, how other part of the world or countries with military coup behave, With military coup, a leader will never have that kind of, So, it was, impeachment based on the, you call it a Yazabo. There are certain rules where a leader also has to follow that. So, that's very simple to understand that. If it was a military coup, then you just imagine,
Okay. I think so. Government of India, as you claim, is now already inviting Mr. Nekpao Konyak, who is the chairman and convener for the working committee NNPG.
Right.
Now, if you have to talk to government of India again, what will be the point of discussions from your side?
Well, I think it is very clear that everything has been settled. It's government of India who has to come up with, a roadmap or kind of create a, atmosphere or kind of a way for agreement. So I think on our part, we have nothing to say or to start a new negotiation.
So it was more of like further deliberation on what has been agreed upon.
Well, I think once, but Government of India also has to make it come out very clear on this, because after Arvind Ravi as interlocutor, now the kind of an assignment or, has been endorsed, given to A.K. Mishra as, so Government of India has to come up with that, The longer we delay, things are not in our favor. I mean, kind of more problem has been created, and we could obviously see that. So it's high time Government of India should take it, serious and come up with a clear intent from Government of India side.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that as long as there are two different agreements, like the agreed position and the framework agreement, don't you think, do you think there will ever be a solution? Because I don't think having that two different agreements, practically it will be very challenging. So looking forward, how to make these two things come together and make sure, or do you think your group will still stick to this agreed position as the IM group will still stick to the framework agreement? What is your position on that?
Well, you see, on our part, as you also have stated, the working committee and NPGs have already, put in the public domain on the agreed position as well as the status paper. We are yet to see only one page of the framework agreement, where it is clearly mentioned that they have already concluded the negotiation. Only after that they have signed this framework agreement. I think each one of us, as a Naga, I think we have every right to question that. They have been saying that a chart of demand, so many things.
Competencies.
Yeah, competencies, Of course, through some other sources, we also have seen all that. But from the, top leadership or through, the Ato Kilonser, who is the chief negotiator, they have never put up in the public domain that these are the chart of demand or competencies we have negotiated with Government of India, and these are the points which are yet to. So that kind of things has never came out in the public domain. In our course of meeting and discussion in the Vena platform, and even with some of the top leadership from the IM side, we personally ask them if there is in the competency or chart of demand, if there is any points or agenda which is good for the Nagas, then I think we will be the happiest to support that. I think that is very simple, to make things happen. So, for the working committee and NPGs, our stand on agreed position and status paper is very clear that, if they have better points, better roadmap than that, I think we all should welcome that. So I think it's high time, to come out with that. Otherwise, just talking something which is not going to benefit any one of us, then I think that will be just a wastage of time, And I just look at our leader also, change of generations is, keep on. So I think our leader also should realize that.
A hypothetical question to you. If Government of India comes forward and agrees to sign with your group, with the working committee NNPG, let's say, ignoring the framework agreement, will your group go ahead with that in that scenario?
Well, I think we will try our level best that all of us is part of that. It is not irrespective of which group or that group. Does not arise here, because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, it's going to be for all of us. We represent a section of the organization of the groups. That's not going to enjoy that. The outcome of that, that is going to be for all of us. So I think on our part, we will try our level best that, and we wouldn't see that kind of a situation for God forbids.
But did you, as soon as you signed the agreed position, did you ever request Government of India to ink an agreement I mean, or why do you think government of India didn't come forward? And since we all were told that the talk has been concluded, and why is the government of India not signing, despite the fact that you have signed a great position, very clear in black and white. It's very clear to all of you and to the people. But still, why do you think government of India is not signing immediately or when things are already finished? Concluded. What's your thought and position on that?
I think the major role to be blamed is government of India. And we also have to blame ourselves here. Because in our case, I think the state government also has got a lot of role to play out here. And it's, the procedure of the, governance is that government of India, unless the state governments play a role, they will kind of play an excuse on that. So I think those are some of the reasons behind where, we could not come to an agreement with that. And of course, there are so many other reasons which it's make it unnecessary to, discuss in that kind of a manner.
Okay. Now, what is your hope and what is your way forward from here?
Well, I think let us be practical now. Because I have come across, our younger generation, those who forget about the younger generation now below 10 years, high school or, the college, universities. And, when you talk about our movement, our, call that, they don't want to talk about us at this point of time because of the differences within ourselves. So I think that is something which our leader also should realize and, take things into our hand and, address the issues. Otherwise, tomorrow, look at the situation as of now with so many factions.
Yep.
Our people are fed up with that. They are forgetting, of course, they are deep in their heart, nationalism, patriotism is there. But because of the differences within ourselves, so that is one thing which is really disturbing, and I think it's going to be a disaster, So before it is too late, all of us has to think over and, take control of that and make things happen.
So I'm assuming that your group has no chance of now breaking the ceasefire with the government of India because, as in your case, the talk has been concluded and agreement has reached between you and the government of India. But while on the other side, the NSNIM group, they're still sitting on the fence. Any day ceasefire can be broken down, as their chief claimed a few months ago. That they might go to the jungle if these demands are not met. So what is your position? But I'm assuming that your group has no chance of that because talk has been concluded and agreement has been reached. Am I right in saying that?
No, you see, there is certain kind of a limits where our patience has to be tested. So now I think there are so many ways and means to fight for that. So just threatening government of India will not happen anything. So on our part, I think, this is a democracy. And government of India, the leadership also should know. In a democracy, you can't expect 100%. It works with majority. So I think based on that, if government of India takes a call, then I think that will be for the interest of all of us, of course, for government of India's security point of view also. So that's one part of aspect of the, I could visualize the things. Ceasefire is to make things happen, to arrive, a solution. So it is not that, you keep on continue with ceasefire, So on our part, I think we are, we have to work it out something where, we also can, stand on our own. So those are some of the things where, at this point of time, what Mr. Moiva is given a kind of a challenge to go back and, start. I think those are unnecessary at this point of time. I could say that because I think the world is not working on that line. And I think if Nagas can come together, then I think we can fight in a different way, different approach, So, I mean, that does not mean that, kind of a reservation on or give up on our side or on my side. But I think we have other so many, approaches where we can, still continue to fight with government of India.
Thank you for that opinion. Now, I think just coming back to a personal question, before the unification formed as a different group, you were all part of the umbrella organized, the NSCN group, right? So I want to know, when did you join the Naga national movement? And as a young, I don't know how young you were when you joined, but what really inspired you? I mean, I'm not trying to compare, but you seem to be very knowledgeable and articulate and educated on that sense. So what inspired you? Because as a Naga family, as a Naga boy, Naga young man, it would be the dream of your parents to get a job in the government sector and live a good life, having a family and helping your relatives and so on. But what inspired you to join the Naga national movement those days?
Well, I think it's, nationalism, My grandfather, both of them, they were part of that labor corps. So with that continuation, and my father, he was a teacher, but, from a remote village. There are certain, we call it intelligence, so my father was also been arrested by Indian armies for more than 14, 15 times, He has been put upside down, and tortured badly. So those are some of the things, after completing my graduation, I came down to Dimapur, that is way back in 95 and 96.
I see.
So, I mean, I did not directly enroll myself, but with one of my late friend, we started doing, things. So that has influenced, and as I've said, my grandfathers and my fathers, they were all part of this. So that has inspired me to, join the movement.
And, when you joined the movement, I could imagine the spirit and the zeal that you have for the Naga nation as such, Naga people. Do you still have that? How do you assess yourself?
Well, the commitment, the conviction, still, looking at our leaders, those who have fought, that still inspire us.
I hope with the same zeal, you would definitely move forward in the future.
Right. Yeah. Definitely does.
So thanks so much. It's been a wonderful conversation. I think it's so nice to hear different opinions, different views from different angles. That's how we want to make our platform for different views and opinions on the same matter as well.
Well, I think I just want to add some more few points.
Yeah, please do that.
We continue to blame one another, but we also fail to understand our own weaknesses, where we are doing wrong. Here, I just wanted to point out something, the larger issue where, of course, the framework agreement and the agreed position with all that.
Yep.
But here on the other side, government of India is playing with our, kind of emotion and sentiments, the differences within the Nagas. Whereas, with framework agreement and agreed position, we could have achieved and arrived a solution that would have addressed the problems and issues of ENPO side and even the UNC side. But we failed to, grab that situation. So I think that is one thing which, that's going to destroy us. So I think I just want to convey this message to our, the viewers and the leaders, out there, the civil societies and even our politicians,
Makes sense. I think we whatever solution form it may be, but a negotiated solution, something that we all need.
Right.
It's been quite some time. It's too long to live in this kind of conflict environment.
Yeah, I think at this point of time, recently, this FMR, free movement regimes, has been, kind of yet to straight, but it's almost straight now. And government of India is coming up with a plan to erect the defenses. And also, I mean, this is a human right violation, where government of India is doing purposely with their own interests. And I think, when we look at the post and pre-independence of India, I think Nagas have been divided without our consent. So at any cost, all of us has to come together and stop this at any cost, because even in Ukhrul side, across the border, both sides, our people are living like that. And just taking a good example of Longwa, the chief ang of that, his house has been, so how can that happen like that, So I think, all of us has to come together and see that this kind of things should not happen. Otherwise, tomorrow we will regret, but, that time I think that will be too cold, too, late to come together with that. So that is just one simple message. I think we all have to see that.
That's a beautiful message, and thanks for that. And I hope the viewers will, receive that message very well, and looking forward to, seeing a concrete actions towards that.
Right.
Yeah, so that Nagas as one people can live together as one people. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for this time.
Yes,
and it's
been
been,
most welcome.
Yeah, it's been wonderful and very enriching, conversation and listening to you. So I wish you all the best for your future endeavor as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.